morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. Thank you so much for joining me here this morning on Unfiltered Vision News, and it is Women in Wellness Wednesday, and it is open mic. I know I didn't put that in the description, but it is open mic. So if you would like to appear on the show live, you do not have to show your face. You can actually just come in vocally. Just let me know and I will send you a link. You can either email unfilteredvisionnews@gmail.com or send me a message on X. Okay. It's just me. Or let me know in the chat if you would like for me to send you a link and just let me know by what medium I can send it to you. Okay. And we are joined by Patty Cakes. She says, Grand Rising founder, Grand Rising to you too. And thank you so much for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News for this November 12th. I hope everyone had a wonderful Veterans Day yesterday. And thank you so much to all of our wonderful veterans that serve us so um, selflessly, right? My husband, he's actually a veteran. And that's what I was doing yesterday, celebrating with him. So that's why you guys see a few of my show from yesterday that's still up. But I need to fix that again. Kind of a one woman show. I do the editing and the posting and yeah, from beginning to end, it's just me, and it'll get better. I think as the show grows and comes into its full fruition and being. But with that said, let's get started on our Child's Corner for our inspirational moment for today for our children.
There lived a little squirrel named Sammy. He was small and quick, with a bushy tail and bright eyes that sparkled with curiosity.
I love exploring the forest and playing with my friends.
In the center of the forest stood the tallest tree, its branches stretching high into the sky. Sammy always admired it from below, but was too scared to climb.
I wish I could see the view from the top of that tree.
One day, a wise old tortoise named Tommy noticed Sammy sitting at the base of the tall tree.
Why do you look so sad, little one?
I want to climb this tree and see the view from the top, but I'm afraid I'll fall.
Every great journey begins with a small step. Take it one branch at a time, and remember, you have friends who believe in you.
Encouraged by Tommy's words, Sammy decided to give it a try.
I can do this, one branch at a time.
As Sammy climbed higher, he faced some challenges. The branches got thinner.
Yeah, so that was part one. But as you can see, I think the important takeaway from that video is one step at a time and taking the first step, right? Because it does take faith and it is scary. Any ventures that you do, even me doing the show, when I first started, I was just so nervous and scared. I'm like, it's only me in the room. If I mess up, I mess up. But I had to get to that point where, you know what, it's okay if things go wrong, if they get chaotic, if they get crazy, because I'm going to continue step by step. And you guys have been so encouraging every day. There are more people some days and less people other days, but I'm just grateful that anybody shows up to hear what I have to say and really bring you information, right, that you can use in your everyday lives. And that's the purpose. But I hope you enjoyed that short story about Sammy the squirrel and just how step by step he was able to get up to the tree. And so with that, we're going to get into our next phase um, of our show. We usually go over our honor God with our body mantra, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to pass that on to another day, or let me see if I can pull it up because I've really been wanting to be intentional, I should say, with that particular prayer, because in my opinion, it's just really needed right now for us to stay focused, right? And just to have that mental purpose as we're going out through our day, because there's so many things that we could be doing or not doing, right? That are positive or not positive. And I would rather be positive. with every breath in my being, as long as I have breath in my being, um, because there's so much negativity out there. I'm grateful that the shutdown right now is over, but it cost a lot of people, you know. And right now, we're going to see the resilience of individuals in in our country, especially from leadership, especially from leadership. So with that, let me share my screen. There we go. Sorry, everything's a little bit slow this morning. I noticed I was like, okay, it's dragging. Hopefully it won't drag too much more. I'm trying to add it to the stage. Why aren't you? Oh, I got to remove something first. There we go. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties. So here we go. How to honor God with our body. Well, God help us to help to guard our thoughts. God help me fix my thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. So I will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God help my ears and help me to listen to your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, protect my eyes from sin damage. God, I make a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over my mouth. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, help me, help my hands to serve generously. God, help me to do good to everyone and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. God, please um, give me purity with my reproductive organs. God, help me to honor you with my body. And God, please protect my feet and help me walk in your path. God, let your word be a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. And so I just definitely want to leave you guys with that this morning because it's important for us to really, set the pace and the tone and the mindset. Because again, there's a lot going on. But if we're focused in all of these areas, especially with our body, right, we'll do better and better each day, each moment, and through each circumstance. So I didn't have a guest this morning, but I did come across a video that I wanted to share with you. And it's really cool because it's an elder. Now, I'm not sure of her, I should say her ethnicity or specific background. But when I came across it, my focus was as an elder, I'm grateful that she was sharing the information she did. And maybe this is something we need to really look to get back to help to further build up our communities. And Minnesota Fats and Tatas, thank you so much for joining us here this morning and reposting the stream. So with that, here's the video.
They found you. There was a fam C. And the C stood for college, and the U stands for university. Many of you don't know that the reason you're having a day like today is because the name of FAMU is Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Most of you don't know that the agricultural part has been reduced to what you see now.
So she's talking, but for those of you who might be listening or can't see the small print, it says the primary purpose of the 1890 land grant designation for FAMU was to establish it as an institution for research and education in agriculture, along with mechanical arts and military tactics. So that's why it was put in place. But let's let this elder finish speaking to us.
but it was a full-fledged movement that helped many. The agricultural part was sent to other universities, and so we left with what we have. The mechanical part was when a day like today, we would sit in the stands and watch a team of young men take disabled cars and make them running, because that was the mechanical part of it. When they moved from a college to a university, we became diversified, but we lost a lot. We lost a lot. Many of you don't know that the building that's placed on campus, at one time, they had the cows, they milked them, they presented the milk, and that was in the dining room. Most of you don't know that A&M's part of its heritage was moved to what was at that time a junior college, but is now a full-fledged college here in Tallahassee. Most of you don't know that in the 60s, they were planning, as they are now, to merge, and not only merge, but get rid of FAMU, Florida A&M, Florida FAMU, whatever you want to call it, with FSU, so that you would only be a subsidiary of. Most of you don't know that the major part of this building is what they have demolished in the Bridgetown area. Read your history. Most of you don't know, when you hear old people talking about the hill, they were talking about that little part of FAMU, which we were so busy getting the name of a street one-ish way from Railroad Avenue that we did not see the impact of not being able to expand. Most of you don't know, in these areas they're calling the greater. It's a lesser part. It's a shorter part. All I'm saying to you, you are what we expect. We're moving on. I'm 96 years old, but I expect that some of you, see what is happening. See what's happening to our young people. See what's happening to the children. See what's happening to education. See what's happening to the fact that they are folding. And see that the people who went to and were under, give them scholarships and what have you, the people who were given them and granted and are in a position are the people who are trying to see that no one else gets it. If you are getting at the top, you ought to be able to pull somebody through the loophole, not prevent somebody from coming through. All I say to you is, it's in your hand. It's in your hand. You cannot redo history, but you can make things better. And people like me know that you can only do it with the help and the wisdom of God. Do your philosophy, do your psychology, do your intellectual, whatever you want to do. But along with whatever you do, you better get some wisdom. And I'll tell you this, things are changing so fast. And it's not because it has not been predicted in the Bible that most of you don't want to read. Look at how many of you or your friends are dying on the wayside, being jailed, are disappearing. There is systematic stuff going on. All I can say to you is, enjoy your day. Get educated. Look good. Why you hair like you want? But whatever you do, help the next generation and help yourself. Thank you.
Yeah. And that was well said, right? Help the next generation and help yourself. That's what we're supposed to be doing. I'm in my 50s. And so, doing this show, I'm trying to utilize the talents and skills and abilities that I have to inspire somebody else out there to continue pressing forward. It came up with the redemption party to keep the political process moving forward. And it be a place for people that felt politically homeless, because people are tired of ideology and politics. They just want somebody there to get the job done on behest of the people, because that's why we have representatives in office. They are not supposed to be social media influencers in office, right? But that's what they're becoming. And it's more so who they work for and answer to, because they stopped working for the people a long time ago. And we need to get back to that. And when I heard, her speaking in the video the first time, I was like, wow, this is so good, the history and education. But the sad part is it was systematically, little by little, removed from us. Now, could we have kept it if we realized like what was happening? I think some people would have fought harder to keep it in place. But when you're slipping people money to look the other way, that is the root of the evil that has really befallen all of us. That the dollar, because that has become the god of most. And I love how she said, you know what? You're going to need God to get out of this. Not philosophy, not all these other things. You're going to need God. Even if you don't want God, you're going to need it. And Uncle Coolwater says she needs to go talk to them uppity fraternities and sorority leaders. Clearly, they don't have a clue. Um, and Uncle Coolwater also says she sounded like a foundation of elder. Tethers and melanated immigrants don't speak like that. Okay. Okay, good observation. And Sincerely Lawless, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And Tata says they gave too many third world immigrants teaching at FAMU. And it's sad. Yeah. Because you would think a lot of this stuff happened after the 50s and definitely after 1965. Oh, you meant to say they have? Yes. Yep. They have too. They have way too many people that look like Black Americans, but they're not. And I think a lot of that is the point. Again, with this, the latest campaign that was run in New York, the New York mayoral race with Mandani, he didn't talk anything about saving America or rescuing Americans. It was like immigrants, immigrants, immigrants. I was like, wow, okay, thank you for taking the mask off, but that's what socialists do. That's what evil people do. They pretend to be on your side until they get in a position of authority. And then they show you exactly who they are. But that doesn't mean, sir, that you can't be deported. It's kind of funny to me how these individuals that are naturalized are like, I can never be deported. Yes, you can. You can have your citizenship revoked if you're naturalized. The only people that truly have staking claim to this country are people that are true Americans, born of the soil, not on it, of it. There's a difference. Okay. We won't get into that right now. But I'm just saying, if you know, you know, right? And so our next article that we're going to get into, and I don't know if you guys have come across this yet, but apparently the FBI has decided to send a memo to ICE agents actually asking them, right, to stop wearing masks. Now, the reason why a lot of these agents were wearing masks at all, pretty much, was to protect their identity from and protect them from being doxxed, right? But I want you to listen to this MSNBC commentator and the way she's asking the questions, because it makes it seem like FBI has the authority to have DHS do this, and they don't. Okay, so the FBI, DHS, and a lot of these other agencies that do fall under the executive branch, but also fall under the AG, they roll up to the AG. The FBI does not have any authority to tell DHS how to manage their agents. They don't. But what I find hilarious is the fact that they're like, "Oh yeah, they need to who 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 drafted this memo?" Who asked for this? Who asked for this? Because my whole thing is this. If if we're going to be honest intellectually, okay, fine. If they take off their mask, you're going to have to arrest every single person that has ever doxed them. Now they have beefed up the laws, right, to make sure that if people are doxed, especially ICE agents, that there are stiffer penalties, but that it's very hard to prove that these people are doxing them. So you want people to work and be abused at the same time. And I think all this is an attack because they do not want illegals removed from this country. I'm sorry, Cash Patel, sir, is this what you're asking for? Mr. America First? Mr. Beg for the job to be the FBI director? What are we doing? Dan Bongino, you really? You allowed this memo to go? Who are you working for? What do they have on you that you're acting like this? That's all I'm saying. Somebody's got some dirt under the carpet on these two because the way they are moving, yeah, somebody's got their number, so to speak.
A memo encouraging ICE officers to stop wearing masks in the field and to specifically identify themselves. That directive came after several incidents of agents being impersonated. ICE agents say they wear those masks to keep them from being doxxed. ICE also says it's concerned about the safety of its agents in the field. In Fullerton, California, this week, police came across a man pointing a gun at a woman on a busy street. He identified himself as an ICE agent and said he felt like she was following him. Joining us now, staff writer at The Atlantic, Nick Miroff. He covers immigration.
Now I'm going to pause it right there. Now, we've seen the videos of these individuals following ICE agents, jumping on their cars, blowing the whistles, doing all of these things. So I do not doubt that this woman was doing exactly that. And she's like, oh, I'm just so innocent. No, you're not. No, you're not. You know exactly what you were doing and how you were doing it. And by the way, this person had on sunglasses. He did not have on a mask. So what are we talking about? Not all ICE agents wear masks. But if you listen to how these two interact and how they set it up, to me, it's evil. It really is this commentary back and forth.
And the Department of Homeland Security and just wrote about the issue of ICE agents wearing face masks. And he says those face mask coverings aren't going anywhere. All right, so Nick, good to have you. Let's talk about the masks. FBI wants them to stop wearing them. Why would they not listen?
Well, I think we've seen other federal agencies that are assisting ICE in this mass deportation campaign quickly adopt the same, face coverings. One veteran ICE official I talked to said that the FBI agents and the other agencies from the Department of Justice seem even more keen to wear even more keen to wear masks than ICE officers because they don't really want to be there. And so I think there's broad concern about, the effect that this is having, on the image of these agencies, even though nobody really expects the mask to come off anytime soon.
How big of a problem are these impersonations?
Well, there have been several, instances already of criminals using masks, claiming to be, federal officers or agents in order to rob people or abuse people in some way or another. And it all points to a deterioration of trust. I mean, one of the reasons why police officers show their faces and have name tags on their uniforms is to give people confidence that they are who they say they are and that they should be trusted. And so if you have officers of the law going around looking like, bank robbers or stagecoach robbers with gaiters over their faces, they certainly don't reassure anyone that they're that they represent the law. And it's understandable that people would be confused and lose trust.
Yeah, how is this any different than what we expect and demand of our regular law enforcement officers? I mean, they've got to wear a badge. They have badge numbers. Their names are on their uniforms. They're not masked. if a regular police officer who is upholding the law on the streets of this country does not wear a mask and is easily identifiable, why can these ICE agents, these federal agents, hide who they are, hide their identities? I don't understand the two sets of rules.
Well, really this points to a major difference between policing by state and local authorities versus federal authorities. If we think about this, the police officers in your city or town are accountable to the elected officials of your local jurisdiction, of the mayor, and they have spent, decades trying to gain the trust of the community. The community pays their salaries, and they have uniforms. They represent your city or community. They want people to know who they are and to trust them, and they are in it for the long haul. Federal agencies like ICE, like these Border Patrol agents that have been deployed to places like LA and Chicago, are accountable really to the White House and to faraway federal agencies, and there's almost no local control over what they're doing. And so, they are in there to execute a specific, mission set, in this case, a mass deportation campaign on behalf of the president. And so they don't really care if people are upset about not being able to see their faces.
Where's the line, though, for drawing their weapon? I mean, we have this reporting that I mentioned a moment ago from Fullerton, California, where an ICE agent pulled his gun and pointed it at a woman in a car. He says the woman was following him. She says she wasn't. She lives in that neighborhood. What is the bar that they have to clear to pull out a weapon and point it at an individual?
Okay, we're seeing cases like this pretty much every day in which Border Patrol agents or ICE officers are pulling out their weapons when confronted with angry protesters or crowds or people that they think are following them. It points to how edgy the current environment is in a lot of these cities where ICE and the Border Patrol are deployed very aggressively. And there have been 2 shooting instances in Chicago so far. No one is going to be surprised if there are more. And the federal government is eager to charge people with obstructing federal officers, getting in the way. But some of these protest tactics that we've seen, especially in Chicago and Los Angeles, have made it much harder for ICE and the Border Patrol to do the kinds of raids and roundups that they want to do. And so I don't think we should be surprised if we see more instances like this of weapons being drawn.
Can I linger on what you said a moment ago, that there are some out there in the field who are covering their face because they don't want to be there? What are you hearing from folks like that?
I hear from veteran ICE officials all the time who know that this is bad for the agency's image, that it's bad for law enforcement generally. It's bad for the country to have federal agents and officers going around, wearing face coverings and masks and looking intimidating. Certainly, there are plenty of officers and agents that are happy to do this, that that are eager to cover up like this. But there are many others that feel very conflicted about what they're doing. They've never been asked to do a job like this in which they're out in public, grabbing people on the street, being filmed constantly. In many cases, being confronted with angry, residents and families. It's a very stressful job, and putting on a mask for a lot of these agents and officers is a way to kind of opt out of that and to try to wall it off a little bit from what they have to do.
Yeah, Nick Miroff of The Atlantic. Nick, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah. Interesting, right? And Spud says, what happened to Blue Lives Matter? All of a sudden, everyone against the policing, let them do their jobs. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because here's the deal. When all of these individuals that are running after ICE and mad and angry, as soon as something happens to them, who are they calling? 911. The reason why a lot of this is so chaotic is because a lot of these blue cities specifically and states have said, well, if we catch any of these illegals, we're not going to detain them. Now, if they were to detain them, all ICE would have to do is just go to the facility and get these people and deport them. They're not doing that. They're letting these people back out in the general public. And they want it to look like, I do not curse, but the S show, so that people will demand that ICE stop doing their job. Can you guys see the ruse with me? Like, walk with me. That's why we are where we are. And now we have the actual FBI saying, well, you guys shouldn't be wearing masks. Excuse me, sir? Yeah, I'm putting this at the feet of Cash Patel and Dan Bongino. I'm not sure who did the actual memo, but what I did do is I did a little bit of investigating with Grok to find out, like, is this even a thing? Right? Is this even a thing of what we're doing here? So apparently, yes, the FBI did issue a memo, right? Urging. Okay, so that's a strong ask. They're not telling them this is what you have to do because they have no authority. I just told you. They have no authority to tell ICE and DHS what to do because they're peers. There is no hierarchy. Okay, to clearly identify themselves. They have ICE bulletproof vest with a badge with their name on it. Like, what else are we? What? What do they have to do? So this was in response to the rising criminals impersonating masked ICE officers to commit crimes like robbery, kidnapping, and sexual assault against vulnerable communities, particularly immigrants. That was happening anyway, even before ICE came on the scene, because we all remember whenever it was like, oh yeah, you got to mask up. You got to mask up. Remember that big deal in 2020? Yeah. And remember the rising crime. To the point where they actually changed municipal laws and raised the limit of what could be stolen and got these children believing that it was okay for them to steal. And then these children go to different counties and cities and are like, oh, I wish I would have known I was in this county because I wouldn't have stolen anything. Yeah, we got professional thieves walking around that they trained. Now, I'm not going to get into, too many heavy details of this, but you guys can get the premise, right? You're asking them to not protect themselves, right? Be doxxed, which they can be because, again, their name, in most cases with these ICE agents, it's on their uniform. So they are identifiable. Stop trying to get us to go along with criminal behavior and feeling any empathy for people that have committed crimes. And a lot of times in these immigrant communities, it's immigrant on immigrant crime. It's not Americans going in there messing with these people. It's people from their countries messing with them. Okay? Look, even before ICE agents, okay? What do you think TDA is doing to these individuals from Venezuela? They're gangs. That's what they do. And they stay masked up all the time. It's crazy. So, okay, so this has drawn criticism, and I'm talking about the memo, from local leaders, activists, and some officials, like Acting Director Todd Lyons, who noted October 2025 that masks weren't used in the prior administration. States like California banned masks for law enforcement in September of 2025, though DHS claims federal agents are exempt, and they are because this is federal and state law. Gavin Newsom cannot tell the federal agents what to do. He can't. He can look cute about it. Now, here's my thing. Then why are some of your people still wearing masks? Huh? Because your people still wear masks, Gavin. Just saying. And they committing lots of crimes in your state. Like, you're so disingenuous. It's so sad. So, as a part of this, have there been incidents of individuals wearing masks and impersonating law enforcement to commit crimes? Right? Can you also show the uptick since COVID of these incidents? Yes, there have been numerous documented incidents of individuals wearing masks or disguises to impersonate law enforcement officers and commit crimes well before the 2025 FBI memo regarding ICE agents. These cases often involve robbers, sexual predators, or scammers exploiting and the authority of badges, uniforms, and anonymity provided by masks to intimidate victims. while comprehensive national tracking of police impersonation as a standalone crime category is limited to FBI uniform crime reporting, the UCR, data often lumped under fraud, robbery, or sexual assault. Research and news reports highlight a consistent pattern over decades. Here's a summary of key historical examples. We're not going to get into it, but this is what I got to say. The ICE agents aren't there to be community police officers. They're not there to bring peace. Okay? They're not. This is a war. You're on our soil illegally and you've got to go. These are warriors. Okay? Yeah. Armed to the teeth, as they should be, to get you off the soil. Oh no, we're making a stand on this one. We are not backing down. Are you crazy? Would you just let somebody come into your house and be like, "Oh, I guess you're gonna rob me. I'll just sit here and, I'll stay out of your way." We're gonna get to some of that, by the way. I'll just stay out of your way, and you just take what you want and just leave me alone. And stop that. Stop it. I mean, they've had to stop selling things on Amazon and eBay so people cannot impersonate officers. They sell fake badges, they sell fake uniforms, they sell all kinds of stuff in the open so people can deceive other people. Really? You know exactly who the ICE agents are because their vehicles are marked, their uniforms are marked. I'm telling you, this is the downside of what we see in America. Again, no, so if you guys, any of you, want a copy of this research I did with Grok just on this particular article and incident, just let me know. Because I said, can the FBI give direction to DHS? No. Formal command authority. So the FBI cannot issue binding orders or directives to DHS components like ICE, as they fall under separate departmental chains of command. DOJ for FBI, DHS, Secretary for ICE, right? So there is a roll up, but the FBI is not in the chain of command. So DHS is not subordinate to the DOJ and FBI. Guidance does not carry the force of law unless elevated through higher executive or legislative channels. So presidential executive orders or attorney general memoranda. So, for instance, while the attorney general can issue guidelines binding DOJ components, including the FBI, these do not automatically extend to DHS without interagency agreement. So, unless Kristi Noem, the secretary of DHS, said, okay, we're going to say that our agents aren't going to wear masks, that's the agreement. She's not agreeing to that, as she should not. The reason why a lot of this crime is going on is because it's been allowed for so long and people feel emboldened to keep doing it because there's no consequences for them. And we're going to talk about that in here in a second. And Spud McKenzie says, good morning and good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us here. Yeah, I mean, it's a mess, y'all. It really is messy. It's messy. Yeah. So it gives the context of the memo, mechanisms for effective interagency direction, basically the chains of command that we have. So in summary, the FBI cannot unilaterally direct DHS, but advisory communications like the recent memo are a cornerstone of their mandated partnership promoting mutual safety without overriding DHS autonomy. For binding actions, escalation to the White House or Congress is typically required. So if it became a situation where they were like, okay, we're just going to take this up the food chain till you do what we've strongly asked, that's what would have to happen. That's not happening, but that's what would have to happen. Okay. So let's get on to our next article. Now, this is covering the brawl that happened at Berkeley. If anybody has heard about this, it's very unfortunate that people are still having issue with TPUSA having events on campuses. If they want to have the event, let them have the event, leave them alone. But then you want to turn around and say, oh, we're not Antifa. that's not even an organization. It's just the ideology. Okay. So you're in a cult mindset because that's what it is. Like you have fallen into a cult mindset that's universally shared between people. Yeah, but you're not an organization. Okay. And the reason why you keep propagating and with the propaganda about that, because there are some people who have put together certain charters that support Antifa, but again, because it's not a specific organization, right? They can't be deemed terrorist. Okay. All right. But thank you for letting us always know who you are and what you support by your actions. So let's get into it.
TVU Fox 2 is above that active protest scene. Let's watch a little bit of their coverage. USA's event on campus tonight at Zellerbach Hall. That is the group Turning Point USA, founded by the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Some Cal students say they are disappointed with the school for allowing the event to happen. So far, at least 2 people have been detained, and that event starts in about an hour. As you take a look at that large group outside of that event, we have seen that crowd continuing to grow as the afternoon has gone on. We want to show you some video from within the last hour. We've highlighted for you as some fights broke out in this crowd. Again, we know 2 people have been detained as emotions are high and tensions are high, as we saw some of those protesters clashing with people waiting in line to get inside. We know the university has added enhanced security measures. They've called in a lot of police from Berkeley as well as UC Berkeley, and Turning Point USA has also hired some of their own independent security to be on campus. There are strict policies to actually get inside of Zellerbach Hall, but we know certainly tensions are high outside of Zellerbach Hall right now. We want to show you some more video here of some of that law enforcement presence as they took at least one person, they detained at least 2 people so far, but video of one of them being detained and put in the back of a police car. Again, we know Berkeley police are on hand, private security, as well as UC Berkeley's own campus police. This is a situation that we are continuing to monitor tonight, and we will bring you any updates as these things develop tonight ahead of this event set to start in the next hour.
And I'm hearing from our producers here that today does mark 2 months since the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We don't have our raw helicopter feed of that situation anymore, but this is how Fox News was classifying this. They say a bloody brawl broke out near the Turning Point USA event at Berkeley in California as agitators staged a protest. 2 men spotted fighting as a mob formed around, and then police were called in. Several arrests ending up being made. We'll let you know if KTVU or Fox brings us any more pertinent updates as the evening progresses.
Yeah, and see, the sad part is, we've gotten to a point in our society where people no longer want to have conversations or civil discourse, and they get mad, like, well, you're not listening to me. It's like, okay, well, if you could talk without yelling at me because I disagree with you, maybe we could actually have a real conversation. But see, they're past that point. This is all about, if you do not bend the knee and succumb to this ideology that I have, I'm not going to deal with you at all. I'm just not doing it. And I've said for Black colleges and universities, because TPUSA hadn't gone there, let's wait, because they, in my opinion, they would totally use an HBCU for false flag and make it turn into like a weird race war or something crazy. So I'm like, nah, stay away from the Black colleges. But to that, for all these other colleges that are not HBCUs, that are, more integrated, I'm like, look, what are you doing? Why can't people have their freedom of speech? It's okay if you protest, but why are you getting violent? Why is it always leading to violence? It never leads to an actual real conversation, but then you want to turn around and call other people racist when you just want to, beat people up. Like, what are we doing? Like, you don't want to talk, but everybody else is racist. It's weird. It's just weird to me. And Gibson for governor, thank you so much for joining us this morning and reposting the stream. Appreciate you. All right. Okay, now we're gonna get into this next one. I know I've got a lot of videos this morning, but I was like, the flow of the news is happening so fast. Now, this is about part of the shutdown, right? But this is about some fraud that was uncovered. Now, a lot of people talked about fraud already. I'm saying a lot of people already talked about it, but I don't think people realize how bad this was, and I think it's going to get worse. But the one thing that the shutdown did that I don't think the Democrats were thinking about while everything was shut down, it's like, you know what? Let's run some reports. While everything is still, while everything is quiet, while you can't move any money around, you can't move people around, you can't do nothing to cover any of this up because the government shut down. Let's see who shows up on the rolls. I'm just saying. Let's do some audits now. Yeah. Timing is everything. Because this report just recently came out. Y'all had to shut this down because you got to cover up your crimes. Y'all been committing crimes all over this country. And now it is coming out.
Shutdown's impact on the food assistance SNAP program for millions of low-income Americans also exposed clear opportunities for reform and accountability that could save taxpayers billions of dollars. Joining us to discuss this morning is the Deputy Public Policy Editor for OpenTheBooks.com, Rachel O'Brien. Good morning, Rachel. Happy Friday.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
You know, I don't think a lot of folks realize how many Americans are on this program and the billions that it costs. What are those numbers roughly?
Yeah, it's a huge program. $100 billion a year spent for 42 million Americans. It's about 1 in 8 households get SNAP benefits. It costs about $8 billion per month. So the benefits on average are about $187 per person per month, right? They can buy groceries with it. The people most at risk are households with children. Almost 40% of participants are children under 18. And then, of course, seniors and people with disabilities, they're also a large group.
Rachel, how much of that has led to fraud and abuse investigations?
Yeah, so there's a lot, and there's a lot we still don't know. So, for instance, the Government Accountability Office, they put out an audit last month about SNAP recipients who report that their benefits were actually stolen. And they put that number at $320 million. So that's someone who has a SNAP card, someone else was able to access the card and access the benefits. So $320 million stolen in the last 2 years. It's such a low ball figure. That's only recipients who filed claims to get their stolen benefits replaced. And
I find that fascinating. How are you? And it's only been in the past 2 years. How long has SNAP been around? A while. Okay. It's been around longer than the past 2 years. But who's been on the program in the past 2 years? Let's continue.
And they're limited to file a maximum of 2 claims per year. So this is very underreported. And again, it's just those that are stolen. It doesn't account for really like intended fraud, people who are getting SNAP benefits, who are, lying about their income, who are able to access that. These cards don't have microchips in most instances. California just added microchips. There's, I think, 6 more states that are looking at them. And microchips protect these cards. They're standard in debit and credit cards.
Right.
And so they're, hopefully those states will keep adding those. And this audit found that the USDA, which runs the SNAP program, they don't have a good grasp on what theft prevention measures each state is taking. So the USDA, they're left in the dark about what they can do to help these states and what is effective. So this audit found the USDA needs to be able to communicate with states better and
Right.
find ways to reduce that fraud.
And what about the billions we're hearing in regards to improper payments and poor record keeping?
It's amazing. So that was fraud, right? We're talking, this is just ineptitude.
Yeah.
So this is just $10.5 billion in improper payments in fiscal year 2024. That is a 12% improper payment rate. That means 12% of that money that's going out the door for SNAP benefits shouldn't be being spent. The The vast majority of that $10.5 billion is due to what they say failure to access data or information needed. So it's not fraud, it's not theft, it's just simply they're not getting the information they need, but they're letting these benefits go out the door. That amount has grown significantly over the years. I just mentioned it's 12%.
Yeah.
A decade ago, it was 3%. Even 5 years ago, it was less than 7%. So this is the agencies, not only USDA, but the states, right? Because the states run these SNAP benefits programs, need to step up their game and make sure they have the information they need and don't send the
Look, let's just say, let's keep it a buck. They've gone unchecked, and now they've been exposed.
benefits out the door without checking it.
Right.
This program has grown significantly. I said 42 million people are on it.
Yeah.
20 years ago, it was 24 million people. So the more it grows, the more fraud and waste will continue. It will grow as those numbers go
It
up.
should be 0% when you're thinking about taxpayer dollars. Deputy Public Policy Editor for OpenTheBooks.com, Rachel O'Brien, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. And it's just weird, right? It's weird because you got people like, oh my gosh, people are hungry and this, that, and the other, and we need to feed people. And it's like the states are like, look, we got to keep the money flowing. We got to keep our fraud going. And I'm not saying that every instance in each state is fraud, but there is fraud happening. And these people have gone unchecked. There should be, why aren't we having annual audits with the USDA of every single penny spent? They pay people at the state level to do this, to manage this. Now, I have personally been a recipient of SNAP because there was a time I had my kids, I wasn't working, and I needed the benefits. But then I eventually got a job and got off the benefits, right? It wasn't a lifestyle for me. It was a temporary measure it was a bridge, okay, to get me where I needed to go. But if anybody has ever applied for benefits and been in any of these offices, you know how interesting, well, to me, it's very interesting. Because even then, I kind of saw how individuals that are not from this country basically get put up on a pedestal. But they're not supposed to be receiving benefits. Now, this is pre-COVID. Okay, so I grew up in California, so I've received benefits in California, short time in Indiana, short time here in Georgia. Okay, everything pretty much under a 2-year span. Each instance over my lifetime of ever, having to deal with benefits. But it's only gotten worse in the past 2 years. But then again, where was the influx? Yeah. That $10.5 billion that went unchecked, I guarantee you those payments went to people that were here illegally and they were trying to hide it. Now they can't hide it. Now they have to be responsible and bring it forward. I'm demanding a report. I demand it. And guess what, USDA, you've got to figure this out and put it on your website because we, the American people, we want to see where the fraud is. You don't get to hide anything ever. We want to know the states where the fraud occurred. We want to know how much money each state was fraudulent in, who it went to. We want to know. We demand it because those are our tax dollars. That money doesn't belong to you, nor does it belong to the individuals that were the recipients of it, especially if it was fraud. We demand a full audit. And Only Facts and Truths, thank you so much for posting the stream. And Spud says, infrastructure of the country crumbling from city to city, but look at our tax dollars at work. Yeah, and Spud says we definitely need an annual audit. Like how are you giving out $100 billion a year and there's no audit trail? Stop that. Stop it. That's just it's not even willful ignorance. It's just abuse. The incompetency is at a fever pitch right now. I can't. We're paying people to be incompetent and not do a good job. I mean, everybody needs to be fired top down. Everybody. That's what I want. I want the firings to begin. Oh my gosh, unemployment. I don't care. You have not been doing your job for the American people. You need to go. You're a cancer. You're an issue. You're a liability. You're not an asset. And Tasha says, I see it every day at my office within the workforce. Oh, I'm sure you do. And you know what I'm talking about. How they kind of have a separate line for certain people that can't speak English. They do. And they do it all the time. It's disgusting. It is. People should be afraid. And they're supposed to be, because it comes with perjury penalty if you lie. And y'all have been lying about these people getting these benefits for years, telling us we're the crazy ones. So, and Cajun Lady says, we are the American taxpayers' servants, are paying for the destruction of our country. Absolutely. Now, we went over the whole income tax thing that was put in place by Woodrow Wilson, and how we only earn like about 18 hours of the 22 hours that we work, of the 40 hours complete, right? So we got 40 hours, 22 of them go to the American government. And part of those dollars go towards things like SNAP benefits. That stuff does just not come out of the air. It comes from taxpayers. It's not a separate issue. This is our money. And did anybody come and ask us how we would like it spent? Nope. You're just spending money like drunken sailors. You just don't even care. You don't care. And it's sad, because you're leaving the American people with the bag, right? And expecting us to continue with this. So I did ask, I said, can you confirm if there's been fraud? Right? Because sometimes you see videos and then it's like, but yeah, there's evidence of fraud in the SNAP program, right? And they uncovered it when the shutdown began on October 1st and has now lasted over 40 days as November 11th. The shutdown disrupted SNAP funding, leading the U.S. Department of Agriculture to initially freeze November benefits for its roughly 42 million recipients, promoting legal battles, partial payments via contingency funds, and deeper review of the program data. This review, prompted by the funding crisis, revealed significant irregularities, which USDA officials described as massive fraud and corruption. All right. Well, let's check it out. So here's the summary. So deceased recipients, benefits continued for people listed as dead in federal records due to lack of cross-checks. Now, this was something that when Doge first came into office in the administration, early on, they were finding that dead people were receiving benefits, and they were sounding the alarm. And everybody was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. But nobody did anything about it. No one did anything. It's November. And the same thing is coming up under the SNAP benefits. What's wrong with y'all? See, they know exactly what they're doing. I'm sorry. At this point, it is not even willful ignorance. You are deliberately robbing the American people. Criminals. Find them, because this rolls back up to the top. I'm sorry. Rolls back up to the top. Then roll to the bottom, rolls up to the top. So the supervisors and the managers and everybody who knew, you need to go to prison. And everybody that took the money needs to go to prison and get deported, because I guarantee you, most of the people receiving this are not U.S. citizens. Guarantee it. So estimated scale from USDA data, 5,000 confirmed cases, up to 300,000 potential case instances nationwide. 300,000 people. From what? So the USDA reviewed this. So the shutdown, as bad as it was, it is exposing everybody. Draws is just down. They just run out in the street crazy. Okay, multiple overlapping households or individuals receiving duplicate benefits across states or programs. Thousands of cases. One person receiving benefit in 6 states. Huh? But y'all are on it. Yeah. disqualified recipients, people previously banned from SNAP for prior fraud, still enrolled and receiving a nearly 4,000. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, that's not a lot." It's more than one. Okay. One is too many. 4,000? And this is what they found in October. I'm telling you, this is why the Democrats was like, okay, we need to shut this down. Because the longer the government stays closed, the longer the exposure gets, right? Because we haven't even gotten to this is just SNAP. They haven't gotten to the TANF, right? The temporary aid for needy families. That's the money part of this. They haven't tapped into that. This is just the food part. Yeah. Individual social security numbers, use of dummy or fake social security numbers, particularly indicating ineligible recipients, undocumented immigrants, though SNAP bars them explicitly. Over 500, over 500,000 found. That's what they found. What if there's more? Oh my goodness. EBT card trafficking and theft, illegal selling or cloning of electronic benefit transfer cards for cash, non-food items, or other abuses surged 55% in recent years. I don't know if you guys have come across these videos where ladies were sitting there like, "Oh, don't you take EBT so I can get my nails done?" And the guys are like, "No, we can take cash or, other forms. We can't take that anymore." But they were getting by on it. They were taking EBT. Mhm. Yeah. So thousands of illegal uses, 17,000 transactions in one Cleveland bust alone. That's just Cleveland. 100,000 was recovered, 177,000 fraud reports in just the first quarter across 46 states. The fraud is immense in this, what people are doing. Eligibility fraud, underreported income assets or false claims, includes identity theft and account takeovers. So somebody coming in and taking over somebody's account, they might have died or whatever. 24% of fraud cases contributed to 10.5 billion in improper payments. That's what the ladies were discussing in the video. 11.7% of 90 billion total SNAP outlays. And that was in fiscal year 2023. And this was a report that they ran from June of 2024 and it was updated this past October. Telling you. They are using our systems against us. And when I say I'm talking about individuals that are subscribed to supporting illegal immigration and activity. Those individuals have signed over to supporting this. And these are individuals that work at the state level in our state legislatures, right? So I'm talking about our governors, House and Senate at the state level. I'm talking about the mayors, and I'm talking about the councilmen, the commissioners, down to the people that are hired to administer these programs for TANF and SNAP. Yes, when I say they, and we're talking about this contextual conversation, I am talking top down, governor to the SNAP benefits person who administers this. You're all in on it. Nobody gets away from this. You were all in on it. You all had to be because these are federal dollars coming into your state. I don't want to hear it. Oh, well, there was just this rogue employee. No, that rogue employee was given direction to do what they did. And it came from the top. They didn't just do it. Nobody gets to escape this. You are all a part of the theft of federal dollars, and there needs to be some prison time. But, the way our DOJ is, I'm just saying. I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to keep pressing. But we need somebody who's going to be our attorney general who directs our DOJ to actually get some justice in this country. It's disgusting. Tata says, say it. Thank you. Thank you, sis. I mean, this is bad. It's just bad. So now let's get into some more fraud. Yes, yes. My goodness, fraud is it's run rampant, just rampant. But this is something I did talk about with the ACA and the research that I did. I was like, yeah, this looks kind of fraudulent. This doesn't look right. This video confirms what I said.
Obamacare and healthcare in general, right? The healthcare industry, because it is most definitely one big scam, especially the whole Obamacare situation, which has absolutely exploded profits for these health insurance companies. And I got a lot of clips that I want to get to show you guys, so I'm not going to be talking a whole lot here at the very beginning, but stick around. What you are going to hear in some of these clips is absolutely mind-boggling. And I've got a couple of clips of some individuals saying some of the same things to further drive home the point, so it really sticks, and so that you guys know that this is a legitimately a thing that is happening. And like I said, it's going to make your jaw drop. So hit that subscribe button if you are new, and slap that like button for me. I would greatly appreciate.
And Uncle Coolwater actually has a question. He says, is that on the Democrat watch or both sides of the aisle? Now, here's where it gets tricky. It's on both sides of the aisle that it's been happening on, because there's always been fraud, right? Even in its smallest measurement. But this last round, in the past 2 years, okay, who was in office? I'm not trying to point fingers, but who was in office, right? Who approved the Inflation Reduction Act? Who approved the CARES Act? I think those were shoved down our throats by the prior administration, where the Democrats, yes, did carry the majority. They did. But the Republicans didn't stop it either. And that's what you got to see. Just because the Democrats got away with it doesn't mean the Republicans were pushing back. Come on now. Both sides are guilty in this. And people need to stop, clutching pearls and acting like they have no idea how we got here. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And Doge exposed a lot of them. You see, like a lot of them Republicans, they weren't outside doing nothing. They weren't counter protesting. I think I saw 5 Republicans counter protest some of what the Democrats were doing, like when Doge was doing their work, because they know better, because they're a part of it. Stop that. You ain't out shouting it down. You knew.
Appreciate it. It helps out with the algorithm, and it'll push this video out to more people so they get to see this information. With that being said, let's dive in.
Obamacare has now been around for 15 years, and the promise was that it was going to save us dramatically on our healthcare spending and make us healthier. And if you look at 2010, for a family of 4, their premiums were about $13,000. And they had about $3,000 to $4,000 in deductibles. Now you go to 2025, that has jumped to $35,000, about a $5,000 to $6,000 deductible. What's happening now is we have what's called functionally uninsured patients. That means they have insurance, they think that they're okay, then they get sick, they go to the ER, they present their magic insurance card, and they find out they have a $5,000 deductible. So that means they have to pay $5,000 for the first dollar of coverage. Now the ER for sure is going to eat up that $5,000 deductible. What that means is patients now have ongoing medical debt. So has Obamacare saved us money? No, unfortunately not. What it has done is made the system very, very complex. You've had the growth of very small to moderate size insurance companies to huge insurance companies. There's now 7 insurance companies that are in the Fortune 500 right now.
Crazy. 7 of them things. Fortune 500. Crazy. Absolutely mind-boggling. But let's continue on.
Pause it really quick, because Coldwater is saying they've been getting away with it for decades. So once you realize that nobody is checking on you, you just get greedy, because there's no consequences for your actions. Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is, people might crash out over this. Okay, I'll admit, I had a little bit of crash out. I was like, what? But guess what? These people aren't going to go to jail. As much as I want them to go to jail, okay? More than likely, nothing's going to happen to them. They might get a slap on the wrist. We'll never hear about them actually infiltrating and finding out the cartel like systems that have been set up. Are they going to dismantle them is the question. They never talk about that part. They expose it, but they never talk about actually arresting people, removing the cancer, removing the problem, so that we know as a society, as the American public, that they are actually doing their jobs. We never get to that part.
Got a lot of clips to get to, and I want to make sure that I get to them. And like I said, the clips after this next one, you're definitely not going to want to miss those. So let's keep going.
So I just went down the Affordable Care Act rabbit hole, and I'm genuinely shocked that Americans are not more outraged about this entire thing. The Affordable Care Act subsidies that the Democrats are requiring to extend in order to reopen our government are subsidies that are paid with taxpayer. Obama said you must use the Affordable Care Plan or pay a fine or get insurance elsewhere. You must have insurance. You must use Obamacare. It will be affordable. And then it ended up not being affordable at all. So we had to subsidize the cost of it with taxpayer money that is paid directly to insurance companies who are causing the driving up of healthcare costs in the first place. This is such a scam. And people aren't outraged. Like, it sounds so noble that the Democrats want people to have affordable health care, but Obama forced people to have affordable health care that wasn't affordable at all, so taxpayers have to pay it, but we pay it directly to the private insurance companies that make health care unaffordable. Can someone clarify if I'm missing something? Because this is wild.
See, what Democrats don't care about is the people, right? If you want to know their true motive, follow the money. Follow the money. You don't think they're getting kickbacks? Why would they care so much to subsidize big companies that can easily make their own profits? And I'm just going to show you guys these couple of clips, because what you're about to witness in these clips here is going to make your jaw drop. Prepare yourself. Get your popcorn ready, ladies and gentlemen, because here we go.
So I've always said that insurance is the ultimate scam. Like, I feel like it is. I mean, if I didn't have to have it because I'm going to be penalized by not having it, I wouldn't have it. But anyway, I've been seeing people walk in their truth and tell their stories. So I'm going to tell mine and see if any of this has happened to anybody else. But back in August, Cooper needed tubes. So the ENT sent over our information to the place where the procedure was going to be done or whatever. And they called and was like, hey, yeah, it was like $13.97. And I was like, God, no, like she was like, oh, you haven't met your deductible, so you have to pay blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I get that. So she was like, are you going to pay like right now? I was like, no, I'm going to pay the day of. I'm not paying you over the phone. And she was like, okay, well, it has to be done before the procedure. I was like, okay, I'll pay it when I get there before the procedure. Like, I don't want to pay you right now. I'm not giving you my card information over the phone. She's like, okay, fine. So we get off the phone, which irritated me anyway. But I called back because I just didn't like the number. I was like, $13.97. Like, that is crazy. So, because what's the point of insurance? Like, what's the full price then? So ultimately, that is the full price because I had not met my deductible. So I call back a few days before the surgery, and I was like, hey, my daughter's having surgery, blah, blah, blah. You gave me this price. So she looks up, she's like, yeah, that's the correct price. I was like, okay, great. Can you tell me what the cash price is? I don't want to run this through my insurance because I'm not going to meet the deductible by the end of the year. So I might as well just pay the cash price. So can you tell me what that cash price is? Do you know what she told me? Because you have insurance and we know you have insurance, we will not allow you to pay cash price. How are you going to tell me I got to use my insurance? And the cash price was $600 and some change.
You heard her right. With insurance, the price was almost $1,400. $13.97 to be exact. That's with insurance. That's paying a company a monthly payment. That's an exorbitant amount of money. A monthly payment. And with that company's card, right, under that company's umbrella, she would have had to pay $1,400. Well, she had to pay $1,400. But if she didn't have the insurance, she would have been charged $600. And because she did have the insurance, they weren't going to allow her to run it without the insurance. You tell me this.
And I know you go, what? Because again, she has the insurance, she still has to meet her deductible. And they know that they can charge her more. It's a trap. I'm sorry. This is a trap. And this is where this all goes back to Congress. All of it. You did this to us, Republicans and Democrats, and I do not want Republicans sitting around butthurt like, oh my God, there's nothing we can do. Shut up. You are in office. And if you're going to act like that, get out and let somebody else go in and do the work. Stop that. It's disgusting.
This whole thing ain't a scam. When you subsidize healthcare, it incentivizes the health insurance companies to bonk you over the head with all types of charges. Because they know, for example, let's just break. I mean, this is really simple. This is common sense to me, but unfortunately, common sense is no longer common in our society today. But if a health insurance company knows, hey, big brother government is going to come in and subsidize 30, 40, or whatever the percentage is of this cost, well, I can jack up the price, right? So instead of this person paying $20, I'm going to bump up the price to $45 because the government is going to cover $20 of it, and I'll just charge the other person an extra $5, and they aren't really going to complain, right? Extra $5 for them. I'm getting the whole 20 from the health insurance company. I've doubled my profits. Easy peasy. See what I mean? But on the flip side, if this person doesn't have insurance, I'm not going to be able to bonk them over the head because most people aren't going to be able to afford these $1,400, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 bills. So I'm not going to be making a whole lot of money. And if I want to remain in business and make money, I have to charge people who are bringing money who are paying out of their own pockets. I have to charge them less so that they continue to come. Because if they don't come, I don't make money, and I'm a business at the end of the day. See, this is really, really simple. If you stop subsidizing, because Democrats are going to say, well, if you don't extend it, health insurance is going to be so expensive. No, it won't. Because if people stop buying health insurance, guess what has to happen? Either the health insurance companies have to close, or they're going to have to lower their overhead, right? So they can then lower their prices so that people will start buying again. Because at the end of the day, it's got to make dollars and cents. Or they got to close their doors. So would you rather close your doors, or would you rather lower your overhead and lower your prices so that you can keep your doors open? I think the answer is obvious, but let's.
And so Uncle Coolwater says the insurance scam is crushing the elderly, the retired, those who are on Medicaid or Medicare, right? None of this stuff helps any Americans. The only way you get free health care is if you are illegal aliens on American soil, and then proof, right? The free magic doors. Oh, and then poof, the magic door is open. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Patty Cake says this is one of the reasons why some illegals can pay cheap to have a baby at our hospitals, right? It costs $1,200 to have a baby without insurance in DC, and I'm sure it costs well over $12,000 for an American. And you know what's interesting? That same American can be on Medicare. I'm sorry, not Medicare, but Medicaid, you know what I'm saying, or state funded. And they will charge that American double that. Guarantee you. Every time. And Walter Mason says, hey, founder, that Negro made it to, oh, yay, Bay Health in Delaware getting medical care under control. But that Negro has landed. All is well. Oh, thank you so much for the update. That Negro, we do appreciate you. And I'm so glad that you're going to be there representing the Redemption Party. So let's continue with this video.
If you thought that was just a one-off, here's another story. Check it out. Hold on.
To a hospital here in Oklahoma City. I called the hospital and I was trying to avoid surgery, and they sent me to a hospital here in Oklahoma City. I called the hospital and I said, how much is it going to be? And they said, well, do you have insurance? I said, I do, but I just want to know how much you charge. Well, it depends on your insurance. I got to tell you, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Why would it depend on my insurance? Like, how much do you charge for this service? Well, I'm gonna have to have someone call you back. So they called me back and they said, based on my insurance, it'd be $7,000 something. I said, well, what if I just paid you the day of the surgery, the procedure? She said, oh, self-pay? Yes, $1,200. Yeah. Yep. So I paid them $1,200 and I still have the email. They did the math for me. It'll be $7,000 something. It's going to be discounted because of your insurance to this much. And then your deductible and co-insurance, you'll be out of pocket $3,000. Or you can just pay us $1,200 that day and we'll call it good.
Scam.
See what I'm saying? You see what I mean? Absolute scam. But there's more.
Insurance bills cheaper when I tell them I have no insurance. Okay, let's break this down. Most people just assume if you have health insurance that your bills will be cheaper, and that's not the case. Almost all the time, it will trigger for your rates to be even higher on your medical bills. That's because when you show up to the hospital and you show them your insurance card, they are no longer billing you, they are billing your insurance company. That's a massive company with deep pockets for change. Because of that, doctors and hospitals will charge inflated rates for these visits. The reason for this is they know that the insurer is going to negotiate, but they're still in the end going to be paying big money. So what if you walk in with no insurance? This is called self-pay, and no matter where you go, if you walk in and tell them you're self-pay, you will be getting a big discount. A lot of times it's 40 to 50% off of the bills, and sometimes it's up to 75 to 85% off of these bills. So
crazy. Absolutely crazy. Why am I being charged more when I have insurance? Like, this is like, if you're going to charge the insurance company, don't charge it to me. Let me pay the self-pay price. Why are you still charging me more? Because I'm doing the right thing. I'm basically getting double taxed. Because not only am I paying the health insurance company, but I'm also paying a premium because I'm paying the health insurance company to the doctor's office. That is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. That's why I wanted to make this video today, to show you guys what is actually happening, because this is crazy stuff. I'll play another video for you guys. Like, this is happening all over the place. This is a legitimate thing, and that's why I wanted to come with the receipts so y'all knew I wasn't just making this up. I wasn't just pulling this out of my behind. All right, so check it out.
How can I help you? So I think there's a mistake on the bill, but maybe you could help me out. We got a bill, and then we realized that you guys didn't have our insurance, so we sent you the insurance, and it looks like the bill went up.
It went up?
Yeah, the first bill we got without the insurance was $600, and then the second one was almost $1,300.
Okay. Yeah, so that the first invoice you received, that's a discount that you receive if you're uninsured. So you're not eligible for the discount since you are insured. And so the bill was $2,342.14. We billed your insurance. Your insurance only paid $1,078.85.
Can I go back to the discount without the insurance?
No, so you're insured, so you're not eligible for the discount.
If I go cancel my insurance, am I eligible for the discount?
No, sir, because we checked eligibility and you do have active coverage for data service.
Oh, I needed to cancel it before I got the service to get the discount.
You're only eligible for the discount if you're uninsured.
Okay, so I'll get cheaper health care if I'm uninsured.
If you're uninsured, you're eligible for the discount, correct?
Is this common? Like I pay for insurance and I end up paying more out of pocket because I pay for a premium? That's wild.
This is just a new law that passed or started 2024 AB 716, and the law. If you're
He's most definitely reading a script right there. How do you pull off how do you know the exact AB 7216? How do you know that right off the top of your head? That's a script. If they start asking, just tell them this.
receive a discount if you're uninsured.
Okay.
So when we first send a invoice to the patient, we bill them as if they're uninsured. If you're insured, unfortunately, you're not eligible for the discount.
Okay, so just if I have the incentives straight here, if I want to pay less for medical care, I should cancel my insurance if my daughter needs life-saving medical care?
I'm not sure. I don't know, sir.
It's this.
You should cancel your insurance. I'm just letting you know that discount's only for patients who are uninsured.
Okay, that is special. That is a special law. So there's no way to put that discount onto an insured person. Only the uninsured people get that.
Correct.
His face says it all. Like,
absolute scam. An absolute scam. Oh, but we need the healthcare subsidies. No, we don't. We need you to get out of the way and let these healthcare insurance companies fend for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Fend for themselves. If they want to gouge people over the top of the head, people are going to stop buying their coverage. You know what happens then? They go out of business. You know what's going to happen before they go out of business? They're going to lower their prices.
Mm-hmm. And give people better coverage.
Rocket science here. This isn't rocket science. My goodness, this is ridiculous. He went from a $1,300 bill or a $600 bill with no insurance to $1,300
with
over double what he would have paid without insurance. That is absolutely crazy. Now listen here. I'm not here to give you health advice or anything like that. I'm just here to give you the information that I came across because I found this just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And dumping more money via Obamacare into the system is only going to make this even worse. So Democrats trying to fight to get Republicans to sign off on extending this is absolutely crazy to me. Padding the pockets of these greedy health insurance companies is not the answer. It's not the answer. Do health insurance companies deserve to make money? Absolutely. They're businesses. They have to make money. Otherwise, they go out of business. But they also shouldn't be gouging people. You know what I'm saying? And this is just absolutely crazy. And then hospitals charging people more because they have health insurance. That's also crazy as well. We could make a whole video on that. That's also crazy. Because somebody has health insurance, you all of a sudden jack up the bill? Nah, bro, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Mind-boggling stuff right there, man. I just wanted to share that information with you guys. Make sure you hit the like button. Leave a
Okay, and that is Doc Rich, and he is on YouTube, and I'll definitely be posting the link for this video so you can definitely share. And Uncle Rock says, news correspondent, I want that link. I need to play this for my family because they really believe that the Trump administration is harming insurance for the people, right? And Trump tried to tell us, Shma. And it says, no, Democrats would say, is that high because of the Republican Party, right? What's your thoughts on the news correspondent? Well, here's the thing. When Obamacare was initially enacted, and I want to say it kind of kicked in as Obama was on his way out the door and Trump was on his way in the door. So it took about a year for it to actually come into full effect where, when people got how they negotiated the rates for this, past November, and then you sign up for your insurance, right, during the eligibility window, which is what we're in now. And then those new rates kick in the following year. So in 2017 is when everybody saw insurance go crazy. And then people were also being penalized if they didn't want insurance. Okay. So insurance took a death spiral on the Affordable Care Act. The problem is it gave more subsidy control to these insurance companies, right? And less control to the American people because at the time, American people had to have insurance or they would be penalized a tax. Now, what Trump did is he removed the tax. By removing the tax, it then gave way to people like choosing whether they wanted insurance or didn't. Now, again, as the, you know, person, the news commentator in here, Doc Rich, was saying, it's like, okay, if you don't have insurance, we're going to put in a discount because they're still about making money, right? These hospitals are still about making money. It's like, okay, we got to make it somewhat affordable for people who don't have insurance, but we can overcharge people with insurance because their insurance will pay it and they have to meet these outrageous deductibles along with the subsidies that the government's giving them. I mean, that is how ACA is working. Both of these parties are responsible for this debacle because the Republicans aren't. What are they doing to fix it? That's the question. Because whenever you ask them, like, okay, well, what do we replace it with? Well, how are we going to fix this? Nothing. Nothing. And we need to look at, okay, well, who's in their pocket? Huh? Who supports their campaign? We know who's supporting Elizabeth Warren. She's taking well over $10 million. And Bernie Sanders. On the medical front, that's where their bread is buttered. Okay. That's who's in their pocket. So when I hear these politicians out here screaming about the ACA and oh my gosh, and people are going to die. No, they're not. They're not going to die because we have laws in this country that say you have to be seen even if you don't have insurance. So stop that. Stop it. Stop lying to the American people. And then these hospitals overcharging people with insurance is criminal because they already have a rate that they're going to charge people that do have government funded health care, and that falls under Medicare and Medicaid. So if you're being charged $1,200 for Medicaid, you're going to probably more than likely be charged double that or even triple that because you have insurance, because they know that you have to meet those deductibles under the insurance. See, they're fleecing the people that are doing the right thing. And they are allowing other people, and I'm not saying that people that have Medicare and Medicaid shouldn't have it. There are some people that are in those situations where they need it. Don't get me wrong. But at this juncture, it would be cheaper if everybody just went to self-pay and shut it down. Walk away from the marketplace. Because see, the only reason that marketplace stays the way it is because people are participating in it. Shut it down. Walk away from it. Don't participate in it. Even your job, walk away. They'll be like, oh, don't you want insurance? Nope. I would rather have the money in my paycheck and I can have a healthcare spending account, right? That doesn't have anything to do with insurance. And let me have my healthcare spending account. And then when I need something, I can pay into that and use it that way. Just get away from insurance altogether. Oh, shut them down. Because see, when they have less participants, again, what he was saying, they don't want to lose money. They'll lower the rates. Walk away. Walk away from all of it. If it is not helping you, if it is not serving you, walk away from it. And they'll be forced. Because, the last thing people should be in debt for is taking care of themselves. But that's what we're talking about. That's what we're doing. And any senators or people and members of the House talk about, oh, people are going to die and this, that, and the other. Shut up. You do not care about the American people. Shut up. We have heard from you and you are horrible humans. You are okay with people being indentured servants. Let's have a real conversation. Why aren't we talking about, ratifying the 16th Amendment so people can keep their income? Why aren't we talking about that? Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Oh, we don't want to talk about term limits. We don't want to talk about how Congress gets to, just do all kinds of insider trading Oh, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about the criminal activity that all of you are involved in. But we want to talk about people dying. And oh my gosh, you have to have health care. No, you don't. Because you just heard how cheap it is if you're self-pay. And they have to do it if you don't have insurance. They have to see you. They cannot refuse you because there are laws to protect you. It's crazy. And Uncle Coolwater says, anytime you force people to do something in America that's borderline communism, i.e. the job, i.e. you got to have insurance or get penalized, right? That's some forced dictatorship leadership. It is. It's hilarious. We don't want to be socialist or communist. You are. Shut up. You are. You know what? And you are showing your whole face. Showing your whole face, your whole butt. We've all seen it. At least Mondani, he's honest about it. You know what I'm saying? At least he's not hiding. He's like, I'm a Muslim. I'm a democratic socialist. He didn't say the last part out loud. I'm here to destroy your lives because that's what's going to happen with his policies, with everything he wants to do to New York and in place. And got the nerve to be running commercials asking for money. But for all the free stuff. But we need money to get the free stuff. Huh? They ain't gonna tax the rich. They're gonna tax you and demand that you give them more of your money. So they'll live well, but you won't. We're gonna have free grocery stores. Those stores will be empty all the time. Because crime is gonna run rampant because they're gonna defund the police. It's going to be a war zone in New York City. It's going to be a disgrace in that city. And it's a beautiful city with amazing people. But it's about to be gone. It's telling you, about to be all the way gone. But yes, I will make sure to put that link in the repost of the show. Now, I want to transition to a recent decision by the Supreme Court. And this is in regards to same-sex marriages. And this is something that has, been ongoing for a few years. And I want to say the Defense of Marriage Act kind of locked things in place at the federal level. But at the state level, there were still some pushback of issuances of licenses. So let's see what the Supreme Court decided to do.
Force the right to marry for same-sex couples. Yesterday, the court turned down a request to overturn its landmark ruling on same-sex marriage.
Here to break down the ruling and how this case made its way all the way to the Supreme Court is Sunrise's Trevor Shirley. Trevor, good morning to you. Give us I'd say brief history lesson, but this thing goes back a decade now.
Yeah, this is a case that's going back 10 years. You may recall Kim Davis. She was that Kentucky county clerk that shortly after the Supreme Court ruled in favor of same-sex marriage back in 2015, she made national headlines because as a county clerk, she refused to issue marriage licenses initially to gay couples and then just decided that she wasn't going to issue marriage licenses to anyone until the court appeals ran their course. Long story short, one of the couples that she denied a marriage license to sued her. Courts found to be in their favor. She argued she had a religious, beliefs right not to issue those licenses. Court disagreed with her because they said, look, you may have those personal views, but you're still acting as an agent of the state. So since then, she's been appealing this ruling against her, which cost around $360,000 between emotional damages and attorney's fees. That's what she's been on the hook for. She was hoping that she would get this case to the Supreme Court. They would side with her, and then she would be off the hook for having to pay all of that money. That didn't turn out that way. Yesterday, the court rejected that offer and that lawsuit, and court watchers had said this was a long shot from the get-go. the Supreme Court affirmed that yesterday, essentially rejecting her case.
So we've heard from Matt Staver. He's the founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, the group that represented her. And he says, like the abortion decision in Roe v. Wade, Obergefell was egregiously wrong from the start. We'll continue to work to overturn it. It's not a matter of if, but when, in his opinion, the Supreme Court will overturn it. And we've heard from liberal and conservative justices and people about this decision not to hear the case.
Yeah, and certainly there was a lot of concern that even though court watchers figured that her case yesterday was going to be a long shot, that it could potentially serve as a vehicle to move forward in the court to overturn that 2015 Obergefell decision. We didn't see that play out yesterday, the justices rejecting her final appeal, but there is concern that there are outfits out there that are still going to be looking for cases that they can put before the Supreme Court that could potentially start that process of overruling that 2015 Obergefell decision, like we saw with the Roe v. Wade decision several years ago.
Right, because you do have some conservative justices who dissented in that Obergefell case who are, still on the court. Want to show some statements that we got in support of this decision not to take up this case. We'll start with the Human Rights Campaign President Kelly Robinson. She said the Supreme Court made clear today that refusing to respect the constitutional rights of others does not come without consequences. Tammy Baldwin weighing in, calling this the right decision, but protecting Americans' basic rights is the bare minimum. Millions of our neighbors are breathing easier today knowing the Supreme Court isn't turning back the clock on a hard-won freedom for LGBTQ Americans.
Yeah, and Representative Andrea Salinas from Oregon said the court made the right decision to hear this challenge, which legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. As it should be, same-sex marriage will remain a constitutional right. And that means that people don't have the right to refuse to offer services to folks who come to them with something about their wedding.
Yeah, and polling has shown recently that same-sex marriage since 2015, when that ruling came down, really has broad support among the American electorate. That's different than, say, the abortion issue, which still continues to divide people even after the Roe v. Wade decision.
All right, Trevor, thank you very much. We appreciate the time. We should mention Jim Obergefell is going to join us at.
So, I wanted to definitely share that with you guys because, hey, this is happening. Now, they keep calling it the constitutional right. First of all, marriage is not in the Constitution. Under the First Amendment, we have the right to life, liberty, and happiness, right? Nobody can take that from us. Nobody can govern it away from us, right? Even though some of the laws feel very distressing, like the insurance laws. But again, I digress. So here's the thing with marriage. No one's actually defined marriage. Okay. They always talk about marriage like it's just this thing that happened all of a sudden. No, it's biblical. And it's biblically just between a man and a woman. To my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, I have not found in the Bible where it was okay for two men to come together as a couple or two women to come together as a couple, as in marriage. Okay. Now, the Bible does talk about homosexuality being an abomination before God, period. That's where we're at. Now, God does also say, there are laws that are outside of God's laws that are governing laws, right, that we have as humans, okay, that may not necessarily be within the Bible, right? But the Bible, if the Bible's the standard, do not steal, do not lie. Do you know what I'm saying? Those things, okay, so we can keep our laws to a certain standard so people are protected, okay? If people wanted to be in a civil union, not a marriage, a civil union, that's fine, because that would be man's law. A marriage under God's law says it's between a man and a woman, period. That's it. If you're going to use that terminology, then it can only be between a man and a woman. You can't redefine marriage, but they did through the Defense of Marriage Act, which they made a federal law. This is why people keep going, it's a constitutional right. No, it's not. Marriage is not in the Constitution. Stop lying to people. Stop lying to them. Acting like you're so smart with your 4-inch thick glasses. Read, as they like to say. Get a book. All right? The answer is no. And as Christians, yeah, we do need to stand up against this. Trust me, I have a relative that is married to, they are in a same sex civil union, because that's what I refer to it as. It's a civil union. It is not a marriage. They are not a man and a woman, period. On its very face and definition. But see, the Supreme Court won't take it up because it's legislation. So it wasn't a win. They couldn't do it. They cannot unwrite a law. Okay? And just because something's a law doesn't make it a part of the Constitution. People are mixing the two. This is why we're in so much trouble in this country. This is why we are in so much trouble, because people just want to do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it, however it makes them feel. Like now. So in short, I understand why the Supreme Court did not take this up, because they would, if they did, they'd be legislating from the bench something that they should not even be involved in, because they did not write the Defense of Marriage Act. Okay? Which kind of kicked down the door to people saying, okay, we want to be married, even though we are a same-sex couple, even though they goes against God's law. Because I'm like, you don't even like God. Like, why are we here? Why are you using something that's God's law? And he's calling you an abomination in the Bible. So you want to kick that part out, right? But you want to utilize all the other parts that you like. Stop that. Stop it. It's a civil union under the law. And that's what you have. You can have a wedding and have a civil union, fine, but it's not a marriage, because you're not a man and a woman, period. And that's very simple on its face, but everybody wants to get real complex, and there's this and that. But I am glad that the Supreme Court did not hear it, because if they did, it would put them in the position to legislate from the bench, and that is not their job. This needs to go through Congress. So if you really want this changed, the lady from Kentucky, you should have been dealing with Congress to reverse the Defense of Marriage Act. Yeah. Trump, you want to do somebody some favors? Congress, you want to do some people some favors? Reverse that and outline it and define it. Period. Defense of Marriage Act, you ain't defending nothing. You're defending degeneracy is what you've done. And how our country is falling apart. It's not getting any better. It's getting worse, because the sin and the justification of sin is at a fever pitch. And we're starting to know and see what it feels like and what it looks like when God is removing his hand. Right now, we are under grace. A lot of it. But when he removes his hand and leaves us kind of open to the bad decisions that we've made, you're not going to be able to get upset with God, because you wanted this. You wanted this. There were some other things I wanted to get into. I don't have enough time, so I'm going to save those articles for tomorrow. But really quick, we did talk about the ACA, and basically there are ongoing ACA talks, and this could complement subsidy extensions by tackling root causes of inflation, appealing to moderates wary of open-ended spending. Right? The critics, hospital lobbies argue it squeezes margins too hard, but evidence from Medicare's pricing setting shows it sustains quality without widespread shortages. So if pursued, pilot programs in high-cost states like California, already experimenting with rate setting, okay, could test viability before a national rollout. Ultimately, while not a silver bullet, it's a high-impact lever for Democrats to deliver lasting release. And basically, I was looking at, my question was, could regulating hospitals to charge private insurance the same as Medicare also help? And that's a start, right? Because if a procedure costs $600, it should be $600 whether you have insurance or not. And if you do have insurance and it's $600, it actually should be less than the self-pay. So the person with the insurance, they should maybe be paying like maybe $50 and their insurance pick up the rest. Then why are we paying for insurance if I'm going to pay more than the self-pay person? But because we're not asking those questions of our Congress, we don't know. Now, the California law that they were talking about, I had to pull it up, And it's referring to, it's like a self-paying for medical bills, like paying out of pocket. And it's Assembly Bill 72. And it was enacted in 2016 and effective for policies issued and amended or renewed after July in 2017. And it closely refers to the Federal No Surprises Act, which was effective in 2022. So all of these things were still happening under the ACA, right? And it extends similar protections nationwide. Okay. And they're saying it's protections, but in my opinion, in the end, it's not helping people that have insurance. It's just saying it's a no surprise, so you'll know what you're paying up front. But these hospitals are overcharging people because they know their insurance will pay for it. To me, that's criminal. I don't know about what you guys think, but yeah, that's horrible, and it should not be happening. And you know what you can self-pay for, voluntary out-of-pocket payments, and see certain things are covered and certain things are not. And it's like a surprise bill, right? Don't pay it out of pocket. Contact your insurer immediately and dispute it. They must investigate and cover the in-network rate. And so they had put this in place in California, right? I'm assuming that's where the gentleman was calling from because he quoted this law, is to make sure that you know the upfront pricing, but they have different pricing if you're on Medicare, if you're on Medicaid, if you're self-pay, or if you have private insurance. All of the costs are different. They're not the same. So it's the same procedure, but the pricing is different for everybody. So is it really helping anyone? Right? It keeps saying out of pocket and all. I was like, no, you're not helping anybody. You're helping the insurance companies line their pockets. And the insurance companies, in my opinion, are using the doctors and the hospitals to get away with theft of the American people. We already are at a deficit with the money that individuals bring home compared to the money that's given to the federal government. You're already at a deficit. And then they want to take the little bit that you do have, overcharge you for your house, overcharge you for your car, overcharge you for your food, and overcharge you for your insurance. And insurances are required on everything, right? The house, the car, your life. There's life insurance that's even separate from health insurance, right? So you got like 4 insurances that are like, yeah, you need to have these things. Stop. You are trying to destroy people. And at the same time saying, we need these things to hold you accountable. It's cruel at this point. But this is why we need better people in office that want to serve the American people and not themselves. Again, these senators and these members of the House, they have shown their hand with this government shutdown. And we need to take this opportunity to remember who people are when they are asking for your vote next November. Do not send them back to the Hill. Send people back to the Hill that are going to do right by you. That's all we got to do. And we'll get this done. We will. Because God said so. And with that, we're going to end our stream today for Women in Wellness Wednesday. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see Patty Cakes down there. Let me not end the stream yet. But Patty Cakes, you gotta make this very quick. Sorry, I didn't see you. Thank you for joining us here. Patty Cakes, are you there? Come off mute. Are you there? Patty Cakes. There you go.
Hey, Founder, for some reason I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Do you want to drop out, come back in? Hello? Patty Cakes, are you there?
I can't hear.
Okay.
I can't hear you speaking.
Yeah, come out and come back in. I would say if you can't hear me, drop and come back in. So I'll have to take her from the stage. Let me kick her from the studio and then she'll come back in. Sorry, you guys. I do apologize for that. I have to go over with my show a little bit. Because I did not see her down there. I do apologize. It's like usually people are like, hey, I'm here. Okay. I'm sorry, Patty Cakes. We will have to try again tomorrow. But with that, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Unfiltered Vision News. Oh, there she is. I was like, there she is. Let's try this again. Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Hey,
yeah. You might have been sitting down in the queue for too long.
that's okay. That's okay. Grand Rising.
Grand Rising.
And I know you're about to close, so let me hurry up.
Yeah.
I wanted to quickly say I enjoyed the thing that you ran about the FAMU.
Okay.
I think that should be alarm sounded when it comes to our HBCUs. I attended a high school that was like that to prepare me to where we had farms and chickens and we learned how to grow things. We had FBLA, which were Future Business Leaders of America, and the 4-H Club, and things that help you to learn how to grow things so that you will be totally sustainable.
Mhm.
Gosh, okay, because it's almost time to go. So let me hurry up and do a shameless plug. Um, Today at 10 o'clock, the first show of the Wake Up Call will be on X. So please tune in for some positivity, Black American entertainment, news, history, traffic, and weather. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And guys, definitely check out Patty Cakes at 10 a.m. And thank you for, giving us that plug of, 4-H. They need to bring it back. So thank you so much for joining us here on the show. And with that, you guys, it is Women in Wellness Wednesday. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.